It is a year to the day since the death of African-American George Floyd in Minneapolis. The 46-year-old died after a white police officer knelt on his neck whilst being arrested. His killing sparked protests across the world and reignited the debate around racism here in the UK. Many hoped it would be a catalyst for change. But is anything really different now? Our national correspondent Rob Osborne has been finding out.
This man's murder shocked the world. But did it change it? 3 Black Welsh people tell us what the last year has meant for them.
I've been trying so hard to rest my eyes, but fear lays next to me and she holds me tightly in her arms.
Kel is a Welsh Zimbabwean artist. For the next 2 nights, a poem he has written about this 1-year anniversary will be projected onto the National Waterfront Museum in Swansea.
It's really hard for people of colour to be faced with daily being reminded that people might see you as inferior. That's very difficult. And people of different races, it's very difficult to fight for something that you may not fully understand. It's difficult, I acknowledge that, but we have to commit ourselves to this. It's not an easy thing. It was never meant to be easy. That's why it's lasted for 400 years. But we are the generation who really can pull this off.
As Economy Minister, Vaughan Gething is one of the most powerful politicians in Wales. He's also one of the most prominent black politicians in the entire United Kingdom.
On the one hand, there is lots of tolerance and a desire for a better country for us all to live in. And at the same time, there are many people who have been emboldened to highlight their own prejudice. Now, a lot of the difficult social media comment I've had over the last year has been about this very issue. So people have been very happy to say appalling things towards me and about me. And at the same time, other people who haven't really understood the state of racial disparity that exists not just in the United States, but here in Wales and the rest of the UK too.
Jessica Dunrod started advising universities and wrote children's books on Wales's multicultural society.
Before George Floyd, you would have only ever seen me with straight hair or in braids.
Do you think George Floyd's murder changed the world?
George Floyd's murder changed the world because as black and brown people, we are the global majority, and it changed us. Just as it changed white people, whether it changed them to start talking about racism, to debate us, whether racism either existed or even attempting to understand. I mean, we are in the room now and we are taking our own space up, so it's changing the world because we are commanding it.
It's fascinating listening to Jessica there, hearing how the last year inspired her to write a book and to wear her hair as she wants to. But she said something else which was quite profound, how this last year and the murder of George Floyd has opened the eyes of white people to the daily experiences of black people. We don't live in a perfect world, racism still exists, but perhaps George Floyd's death did change the world in some way. Rob Osborne,